We are recording on Tuesday, January 21st. I'm still messing this up. Tuesday, January 21st, 2025 at 11:22 a.m. Eastern time with my buddy Ed Luz. He's been on here a couple times before. Um, and we were just talking per the images behind you, just talking about what's going on. And I was telling Ed I messed my sleep schedule up this weekend, so I ended up just going to bed at like sunrise on Monday yesterday. Slept for most of the day. Woke up actually without any alarms. Woke up like 5 minutes before the inauguration. Opened it up, watched like maybe 2 or 3 minutes on Twitter, and then was like, yeah, I don't care. Whatever. It's yeah. And I went back to bed. Woke up around like 8 p.m. to eat dinner. And I got on Twitter and just all I saw was that picture over your shoulder of Elon. And I was like, what the fuck happened? I was like, maybe, and I just kept scrolling. I just kept, everything was this. And I was like, oh no. And people are just putting it over Nazi rallies and like singing like, Erika, don't. And I was like, oh, what the fuck happened? And I was like, this is fantastic. And yeah, I went back to bed and I woke up this morning to see that all of my friends full January 6 pardons, including some of them that have done the podcast from jail. So that's a blessing and thank God for that because they're all innocent and they all served in the military. They all gave years out of their lives in combat zones and they were non-violent protesters. And one of them ended up in jail, a Green Beret who's been on the show from jail. And they woke up today to being pardoned. So God bless, thank God for the love of God for that. And but yeah, so I don't really know where you want to jump in from there, Ed. But
Well, yeah, I'm curious, like how many of your friends were from January the 6th, I guess, that are getting out?
well, so I was there, but I was recording, and luckily the recording is what saved me because I was in the very rare occasion for someone who was being investigated by law enforcement and who had a first person view video of their entire time at said event. So the video is me going there. It's video to me, oh shit, and then it's me going, yeah, I'm gonna leave before ride, please come. So that I was free from, the fucking within like 24 hours of talking to the FBI about 4 years ago. Two of my friends, both combat Marines, were there, and they actually got, I think they were temporarily arrested late 2024, so 3 years later, full SWAT teams banging on their doors at like 2 a.m. And then one of the guys, Jeremy Brown, who I met through this show, is a Green Beret who wasn't even at January 6th, was, if I'm getting this correct, was approached by the FBI before January 6th to go be an informant slash like, I don't think they said it, agitator on J6. Being the Patriot fucking alpha Chad he was like, go fuck yourself, and came out and said it publicly that the feds were trying to infiltrate, for which they arrested him on terrorism charges. This is a guy who, yeah, he's been in jail since probably around this date 4 years ago. And the other two friends weren't arrested, but they had trials coming up, and those were just dropped as of this morning. Jeremy is still in prison, and I'm actually, as of today, messaging with his lawyer to see if I can't, do whatever I can to help facilitate. But he's been on the show, and he's had to call in at 15-minute segments because they cut it off after that. So it's not all just, like, well, how does the election actually affect you? Like that changed the lives of three of my friends. And I know that even though I did nothing, even last year, like my lawyer called me and was like, you might have to talk at this thing or something. So the point where it was still a needle for me. I don't think there was ever any threat after I met with the FBI of anything happening to me. But the fact that it still hadn't gone away, that it was still like a little, it's like if you ever get like a bill for an internet provider from like two houses ago. Like every once in a while, I'll still get random physical mail about like the internet service provider I had in college. I'm like, that was 15 years ago in a state I haven't been in a decade. It's just sometimes it's like, but it's not something you throw away because when it's the FBI, it's something that you're like, fuck, I'm still
Sure.
like loosely involved. And so for me, it was less. I don't think I get a refund on the lawyer I had to spend $10,000 on 4 years ago. But to my other friends, they were looking at giant law fees that they don't have to pay now, that they're fucking innocent. They've served this country. So yeah, several people I know are actually this has dramatically shifted the course of their lives. Like it's not some distant like how does this really affect you? Oh, it affects every aspect. To the one in jail, it literally changes his life. He's going from a jail cell back to his family. So yeah, no, it's real. To me, that's the most important thing that's happened. Is like this is real. So um yeah.
Yeah, well, congratulations, and to those guys as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
When are they out? Is it sort of within 24 hours, or how's it
So the
work?
one that's in jail, I don't know when because he was arrested on like terrorism charge. But it is dropped. It's just a matter of time now. The other two were only temporarily detained, I think last fall or last summer, whenever. I think it happened last July. But they've essentially like n n not quite been on house arrest, but like not allowed to leave like their county or something for almost, about 6 months now. So, you know, and the whole being visited by SWAT teams in the middle of the night, I'm sure that's not a great experience, especially from guys that served in combat missions in the Middle East. I would imagine there's some PTSD to banging at 2 in the morning. Just, I don't know, a guess. Um, and it's not even like it was warranted. It's not like, yeah, well, maybe they should have broken into the Capitol. They didn't fucking do anything. So,
There was some up as well.
yeah. So, um, I honestly, I wasn't sure if Trump was going to do that or not. I would have thought this was going to be something that was like, hey, what about this? Hey, credit where it's due. He, first order of business was signing that shit. Full, full, everything dropped. So, um, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've been weird day to, I do this like once a month where I end up staying up all night. So then I just sleep the next day. Of course, I do it yesterday when every time I wake up, there's been a paradigm shift in the news. It's like, fucking the Border Patrol app is no longer works. Like the Spanish section of the website's deleted. Hey, everyone's pardoned for January 6th. Elon's giving old Sig Heil. Like what in God's name? So I don't know. Um, what do you think about it all, Ed?
I mean, it's a surprise, but it's no surprise as well. I mean,
Yeah.
a technocrat doing a Heil Hitler sign from a technocratic family at an inauguration for something he wasn't even voted in,
Yeah.
and the head of the media. So I don't know. Is anyone debating if it's a real one of those signs? I mean, it's pretty obvious it is to me, but maybe someone else thinks different.
Yeah. No, and it's so for me, I think had there not been pardons, well, actually, let's just extricate it. Let's pretend there weren't pardons. I'd be a little more like, what are we all? Because whatever it is, whenever everyone in one group is cheering along the way, that should give you pause, no matter what it is, even if it's which restaurant we go into. It should always give you some pause of like, because what it means is no one's thinking in terms of opposition or constructive criticism. We're all just, you know, I like it, you like it, I like it, we like it. No one's looking at any flaws that there could be. And so I think it's important to play devil's advocate. I would say that Elon pretty much nuked his own reputation on Christmas, coming out and essentially telling Americans that didn't want H-1B visas for everyday jobs were retarded. He did that on
Yeah,
Christmas Day. And you had people unifying, being like, fuck this guy
on Christmas Day was it?
on Christmas Day. Vivek did the same thing. He was let go of the new Trump administration. I would imagine the only reason Elon wasn't is because he's the richest man in the world and he donated $250 million to Trump. Sure, all's fair in love and war. But I would also say that, hey, man, for someone that needed to rehabilitate his image, hey, a pretty cost-effective way, not spending a penny, is to do this at a podium.
You're
Not a
gonna get
bad way to
attention.
undo the damage you did. Just let's play devil's advocate. So, he's a guy who is in desperate need of reversing the damage he did not 30 days ago. So, what is that? And like you also said, let's be honest. let's pretend let's pretend that let's say this was a Democrat victory. Because remember, whatever power you give to the government or cheer on the government to use against your enemies will one day be used against you. So let's pretend this is not a Trump victory. Let's pretend that's not Elon Musk. Let's pretend it's just another, not like a pure evil billionaire like a Bill Gates, but let's just take some other just money guy, Bezos, who like Musk has his ties, but unlike Gates, isn't like a profoundly just evil person. Let's just take a billionaire with a average level of evil, if we will, right? For the most part, it just seems like I get it. Amazon Web Services, businesses with the I get that. But in broadest terms, Bezos is just kind of your garden variety billionaire, right? Just
Quite evil.
let's pretend he is that. Let's pretend Kamala won, or if you hate Kamala, whatever, just remove it. Fucking, let's say Adam Schiff, just some random whoever, someone that doesn't get provoke an emotional response. Would you be cheering on? And this is a question of myself as well. Would you be cheering on a billionaire that gave $250 million in the final 3 months, or no, July to November, so July, August, September, October, November, the final 4 months of a campaign to a candidate, used their social media platform to push that one candidate, had pretty much was with that presidential candidate from the day they won the election to the inauguration, as far as renting a home on their property, and who has been, it's been said that he's going to have office space in the White House. Let's just completely back up and go, what if that was Zuckerberg with Biden? And it kind of was. He gave more than Elon gave to Trump in 2020. Zuckerberg gave 600 million to Biden and used his social media platform to help Biden. Did we have problems with that? I sure fucking did. So it does require to sort of step back and be like, are we just drinking the Kool-Aid and cheering it? But it also means that no, hey, you're allowed to be like, hey, we won, and there's real effects. Yeah, my buddies aren't going to jail now. That's pretty real. But you know, I think it does require a little humility and honesty with yourself, not necessarily you. Would you be cheering this on if this was someone else? Let's say it's the same fucking billionaire. Let's say Bezos. Not about Bezos. Let's say Musk was on Team Kamala and was like, Kamala wants to, she believes in climate change and this planet's going to die before we get to Mars if we don't fix it. Would we be cheering on this guy throwing vast amounts of money? He's not elected, wasn't even born here, deeply involved with defense contractors. I don't think I would be, which is why but then there's also the whole, it's a zero sum game. It's us versus them. Yeah, I get that too. And for my friends that aren't going to jail, I would imagine that that's enough of a reason. But I don't know. I think that's a fair thing is to go, would we be cheering this on? We probably wouldn't be. I don't think we would. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm just curious of the psychology of him doing that sign with his arm. I don't get it. I guess I'm confused.
Image
Is it?
revival. I think it has to be image. It's got to be public
It's
image
like
restoration
why restoration? Isn't it the Hitler thing?
with a lot of the right. I think that that's restoration for better or
Surely we're
worse.
not at the point where people want to see the.
No, I would the right far right in 2016 versus far right now are much different things. I can tell you that there are a lot of people who are just like,
Yeah.
hey, no, you know what? Fuck it. We should love our country. We should have an ethno state. All of which are things that you, the listener, can debate the merits, the pros, the cons, whatever of. I'm just saying there's not very many people on the so the people that he pissed off were the far right. They weren't the moderate right, right? No one has a problem with the, I think it's called O1 visas, which are when you bring people over in the top 0.01% of
Yeah.
IQ, of education, of patents. You're bringing over the Einsteins, the Teslas, the whoever, the Werner von Brauns, right? I think we're all for that. What we're not for are H-1Bs where you bring them over and you're giving them jobs that I could have at a 7-Eleven, but they're only taking one third of the salary. In a country where a lot of people voted on shut down the fucking border, you have to take care of those people here first. Fentanyl doesn't just fly into people's veins, it flies into people's veins who are also hopeless, who have nothing, whose jobs have been shipped overseas. If you come out on Christmas Day and start calling people retarded and subhuman for opposing that, not the O1. No one's against the O1. Even the most far right wing people I know are like, bring them over. That's national security. To call people who oppose H-1Bs, I think he called them subtards, subhuman retards, on Christmas.
Wait, he was saying subtards to the people who were
Who's saying
saying
no
they didn't
more
agree with him,
H-1Bs, putting America first. He wasn't calling that to
and
left. He
people.
was saying that within the right wingers who voted Trump in. He called his own people that. Those are very right wing people who want no measures off the table to bring stability and prosperity back to the US. We can help the rest of the world once America's strong again. So Elon pissed off the most right wing contingent of Trump's base. How would you, right or wrong, I'm not going there. I'm just saying, how
Yeah,
would
sure. I
you
know.
maybe try to get back in the good graces? I don't know. Maybe throw a Hail Hitler. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's even logical. I'm saying
Very
that's what
right.
I think it was. I'm not fucking saying it's like it's good. It's I don't know. How does Obama maybe win over some of the Republicans who are scared shitless of him? In the first month of his first term, he goes, "We're not shutting down Guantanamo Bay." A lot of people went, "All right, maybe he isn't that bad." I'm not saying it's good or moral or ethical. I'm saying it was a prudent political move. So that's what
Maybe if he does it with his left hand instead.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So that's what I would say that is. But let's go into the more, I wouldn't say fringe, but a lot of people I do know, myself included, are always hesitant to go into, and it's kind of per our messages in the last couple of weeks of, is Trump one of them? Has he been one of the players since the start? When the people need a hero, we'll provide one. And the most intelligent people I know on the right, doctors or former intelligence officials or whatever, they all do some part of their mind, and nothing private, all shit we've said on the podcast, been like, is Trump really deep state? And if that's the case, like, man, this whole thing really is. So it's almost like, I think some people entertain that it's a possibility, but it's such like a fatalistic black pill that it's almost like there's no point in even taking it. So let's kind of go into, if you want, let's kind of go into that of, is this kind of all kabuki theater? Are we getting the guy we want? It's a perfect Trojan horse if you're taking a non-elected guy who, I don't know, wants to put chips in your brain. Let's be very honest here. That's the guy. It's this guy. Any other politician does this, are we cheering this on? Probably not. What do you think, man?
It seems too good to be true that he's the good guy. He's being portrayed as a good guy, whereas the first term he was portrayed as the bad guy who everyone hated, quote unquote everyone, not everyone. But the media's pulling the strings, he was the bad guy. Then he was kind of screwed, cheated, right? That's kind of, the media agrees to that in a way. And now he's back as the good guy, just at the time the world needs a hero. But at the same time, on his stage, the head of the media did that symbol with his hand. So that was in the last 24 hours. So there's so much going on. It's hard to know what to think from one day to the next. But I'm of the opinion he must be in on it.
Hmm.
But I'm not 100% sure. I think Fritz Springmeier says that he's in on it, but he's in a different faction. That almost plays into the idea that he may be in on it, but he's trying to expose it. But I don't know if you can. Yeah, I don't know. I think that.
I'm open to that. I'm open to that possibility. I mean, I know a lot of people, myself included, kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to QAnon, but I've always said I do believe that there is a shred of truth in that entire concept, even if it's not that specific one. But the idea that you have a bunch of generals who fought in World War II, fucking are patriotic to a level you and I can't understand, and then watch Kennedy get popped, that they set up some sort of counter globalist contingent back in the 60s, all the founders of which are probably dead by now, and that they've been biding their time and they're pushing back. I mean, I always used to say, I know that there are powerful people that support Trump because he's still alive. And then last summer, that point almost became moot. But there could be a counter contingent. I think right now it's almost too soon to tell. It's like we got to zoom out and like what are the there are some big things. As of yesterday, we pulled out of the WHO and the Paris Climate Accords. He's already shut down the border, declared a national emergency, and pardoned all J6ers. As far as actions go, I would say actions speak louder than words, and that does seem to be pro-US. And to be pro-US means you're not pro-globalist, right? It's because that's what we're seeing all throughout Europe is the destruction of any nationalism. They want a borderless, amorphous, culturalist group of just mix everyone. Because if there's no identity, then you don't even have to divide and conquer. They're already divided. So to me, any actions Trump takes that are pro-nationalism in the US, I would have to argue is evidence that he is in a counter Illuminati faction. I don't know. We can't know. But I think it's it's going to be actions. It's not going to be how funny are his tweets. It's not going to be, oh, look at all the never try. It's not going to be any of that clickbait, low IQ bullshit. It's going to be what are the actual actions. I mean, as of yesterday, I think he fired like the head of the fucking like the border patrol, some DEI bitch. He just kicked her out. Just said, "Fucking out of here." Like, so there are some legitimate things where I go, that my thesis is that which is pro power of the United States is anti-globalism because America is the last bulwark against a global power. We are the global power based on a strong economy. You can make a ton of fucking money in capitalism and you can all go buy guns. That's very anti-globalist. If America falls, globalism just plows over the planet. We have a global dictatorship. So my thesis would be the following: any actions that promote the power and sovereignty of the United States and or nationalism at large is by definition anti-globalist. That's what would be my thesis. Where I don't give a fuck about the words. I'm sure he's going to have funny tweets. Those don't matter. What does he actually do? And those will be the only accurate indicators of which faction is he in. Because he has to be in a faction. You're not getting there by himself. That's what would be, I don't know, kind of my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, and you go back 48 hours and he's launched that, or maybe it was 72 now, but he launched that cryptocurrency and it's gone to like so much money and whatever, and he control like 80% of it apparently.
Yeah.
So the whole thing about the US dollars are the number one, you can't, replace it and all that. Well, he's not just replaced it, he's taken like an 80%, excuse me, an 80% stake in it.
Yeah.
And so
Not a good
all
look,
the poor
man.
people and
It's
all the
not a good
struggling,
look.
like,
There's,
but it's like a thumb in the eye of like people struggling with a living crisis, which is
Mhm.
basically everyone.
Yeah. No, I'm with you entirely. It's not a good fuck. I mean, on one hand, there's like a comical sense. It's like, yeah, he's the most American president ever. He eats Big Macs on the Air Force One. What used to be in WWF wrestling. He owns a gold penthouse in New York, and he launched a crypto from the Oval Office. Like on a funny sort of, it's almost Doctor Strange Lovian in terms of like it's funny because it's true. Like it's a parody of the United States.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'll never be someone that says like that's not presidential because the president should be someone that works for the people. I don't give a fuck what it looks like in terms of optics. That being said, to me, my first reaction was just kind of guttural disgust. It's just, and maybe that's why I'm not a billionaire president. But there's a very kind of gross feeling about Trump and then Melania releasing meme coins the day before the inauguration. It's maybe it's 5D chess. I highly doubt it. It seems pretty. But at the same time, no one's putting a gun on my head and making me get involved. I'm not involved, so I mean, It's also again, it's also American, and then it's hey, that's kind of the freedom of America. The president
Yeah,
launches a shit coin, and you can buy in the night before the inauguration. I mean, whatever. It's a casino.
it promotes crypto. I think things
Certainly
that promote
does.
crypto psychologically is good. And the question is if we now do it, are they going to come and arrest us and clamp down on us for? Is it one rule for them, one rule for everyone else? Then it's different. So, but yeah, it could be a step in the direction of well, freedom. Like, but he is saying that we have to make the dollar number one. So I don't know. Maybe he's got advisors who are clever and they're saying, well, why don't you release a mem coin? Okay, do that. Ah, you open the floodgate. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's paying back Elon. Maybe this is the way he's footing the bill to pay back Elon for that cool quarter billion. I don't think it was technically. I think it was 240 something million. I don't know. Something in that. I don't know. Right now, I'd have to. So there's also another part of me that's like, and I know that's just from like my own psychology. I also have always had, not always, maybe in the last couple of years, have a hard time accepting good things, even when they are good. It's a genuine good, be it luck or be it merit. I know that I have a hard time accepting them because I think losing my brother, I think it just fucked me psychologically in so many ways. And it's someone's responsibility but my own. But to where it's like sometimes it's hard for me to like accept when so even when I like pour my heart and soul into this podcast, like when an episode does well, I still kind of I feel like I kind of get imposter syndrome. I'm like, man, that's so many views, and I'm like, you worked hard, like take it. So part of me that I have to be on like the lookout for myself is like maybe it's just a good thing. Maybe God is real and said, yeah, if that bullet hits the world, it was World War III. Maybe it's okay to like have a win. Maybe Trump did win, and sure, he's going to be a corrupt billionaire as they all are. But maybe he does some stuff that's good for America, and maybe I've just been Stockholm syndrome conditioned to always just think that the average man is just going to get fucked over by the government, and maybe there are no catches. Maybe it is just a tiny win in life that life is mostly suffering. Maybe it's just a win. Maybe your buddies just aren't going to jail. Maybe it's okay to say, "Hey, that's awesome." Maybe sometimes it just works out. Like it doesn't all have to be some weird, what's the catch? Sometimes it's just like, "Hey, you've been so conditioned for failure and disappointment that you don't even know how to accept good graces when it lands at your doorstep." And so like I'm not kidding when I say that's like a legitimate issue of mine is like it might just be a good thing has happened. That
right.
the universe smiled and evil still exists and we'll have to approach it again. But sometimes you just get a little victory, you know? And like that's kind of sad if I can't accept the victory. Like and it's again, it's someone's responsibility but my own. It's like you won the lottery ticket. It's like, dude, just enjoy it. Like you won. And I'm like, oh no, it's just I don't deserve it. Like it's a humility that's not warranted, and there's nothing noble about having it. Humility is good in most things in life, except for when you do get a win. Like, just take the fucking win, dude. Just take the win. Enjoy it. You worked hard. You've been beaten down by the devil if you can't even enjoy a good event in your life. You know what I mean? I don't know. Sorry, I'm talking over you this show, Ed. I'm using you as a therapist. I
No, not at
apologize.
all. I love it. I love winging it.
Yeah, it's the best way to go. Um, but yeah, big picture, I would come back to the thesis that which supports the sovereignty and the power of the U.S. is against globalism. And I think another one would be, and hopefully it's not too pie in the sky, but if we slow down the slide to World War III, I would say that I think we all agree that people that start wars around the world are devil mongering military industrial complex pedophiles. If in 4 years we've seen that arms shipments have either slowed or come to a stop to Ukraine, that for no matter how shitty it is or how unjust it is, there's some form of ceasefire in Israel. If China hasn't bulldozed Taiwan, I'd be like, hey, the endless wars have kind of ended. I would say, yeah, that's a guy who's counter satanic deep state, which I think is a pretty fair thesis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wants to stop the war, he could call the leader of China and
Yeah.
then the leader of Russia and just, can we not have a war? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And it will
Yeah.
be done in a minute.
Yeah. Hey,
So
you guys want to FaceTime? Yeah. Like that's what it should be. And I hope there is, man. I hope there is because, like the concept of World War III gets thrown around a lot, and I don't think any of us, myself included, really understand like the weight of what that is. It's a world war that almost beyond comprehension. I
yeah,
mean,
it's a psychological prison.
yeah,
It's like it's in the mind, and it's you could sort of think you're always at war because everyday survival for a human. So
yeah,
even if everything's peaceful, you still gotta. So if you think of a war as just surviving a day, that's a war. But we're thinking of like international countries like fighting and throwing bombs at each other when 99.9% of everyone everywhere doesn't want a
doesn't
war
want
with
it.
anyone.
Yeah. I mean, I think in 1945 the world population was 2 billion, and I think high end estimates with civilians included, it's high end. I think it's 85 million dead between 1933 and 1945. So 2 billion divided by 10 would be 200 million. Divided by 10 would be 20 million. So 1% of the world's population is 20 million. Am I doing that right? Is that 4% of the world's population?
I'm
See,
not sure.
I don't think that's right. 2 million, 2 billion divided by 100 is 20 million. Yeah, so that's 4% of the world's population died. The population is now 8 billion divided by 100 times 4. That means a comparable, not even worse, but just a comparable war today would kill 320 million people. That's insane. And if that is avoided, I would have to argue he's not deep state. So there's like a couple parameters. Other than those, it could all be argued Trump is controlled opposition. But those are some big things. If the path to World War III is at the very least slowed, and if there's promoted sovereignty of the U.S. as an independent bulwark against global communism, both those things, if I would say, not deep state, which I don't know. I don't know if possible. I don't know if we'll see those, but I don't know. He could be. I don't know. It's not nothing that his number one guy is Elon Musk. Klaus Schwab said he wanted to put a chip in your head. Would you really cheer him on? Klaus Schwab did this at a Biden inauguration and said, "I want to put a chip in your head." Are you really cheering that on? Right? So I do have to be critical. Like, no, the fuck, I wouldn't be. Absolutely not. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It could also just be that something good has happened and I don't know how to accept it.
I have a belief that the first time he ever met Klaus Schwab was after he became president. Apparently, the mooch introduced him. So, if that's true, and I don't see why it wouldn't be because the mooch is honest, then that means Trump would never have met Schwab before he became president. So, that would fit the narrative of he's an outsider. So, but then again, maybe he has met him before and it's misinformation. It's possible.
Also
But
possible.
it sounds, I believe that's the truth. So therefore, he's not in that circle.
I don't know. Listen, if it's all theater, then it's incredible theater.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's masterful genius if
If
it's all
if it
theatre.
if it's theater, it's fucking incredible. Like I have less time believing, as someone who voted for Obama when I'm 18, I would have less time believing that he was deep still because everything we know now. But even back then, like very quickly, like you know, didn't shut down Gitmo, didn't stop the wars in the Middle East. No bankers were punished for 2008. Very quickly, I'd go, oh, that's controlled op, hope and change, sure. The shit they have thrown at Trump from day one of his first term, and then from day one of him not being the president, is so over the top. I don't. Occam's razor, my gut would say that's not theater. They're actually trying to fucking, from the stolen election to the goddamn bioweapon to to fucking trying to blow his head off on TV. And they just happen to have like a 40,000 frame per second camera there. Uh, I don't think it's theater. And it could very well be I like Trump and therefore I'm clouded by my own biases. I accept that. But I don't fucking know. I don't think that's theater. I think they legitimately wanted him dead. I don't. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't want to sort of visualize what it would look like killing someone, but it wouldn't be that hard if they really wanted to, with all the drones and the directed energy weapons, and it surely wouldn't be that hard.
No.
But with the bullet, it flicking his ear, if it had just gone past his ear, I would be more believing. But it's the fact it flicked his ear that if there's someone scripting it, that's a sort of detail you would put in. But it's
Yeah.
not impossible physically, but it just looked
It is.
suspicious to me.
No, it is. It's too fantastical. It's too dramatic, right? If you saw it in a movie, you'd say that's not how it happens. It's either a direct hit or it's a miss, right? In a movie, it would hit the podium and he would duck, right? Um, I'm with you on that. But then I come back to like I was thinking the other day, like you're dead, you're afterlife, you're talking to God, and he's like, by the way, the whole bullet thing, and you're like, yeah, that was that staged. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, what if God was like, no, I did that. What do you think divine intervention would look like? It would look like something that is explained by no other possibility, not something that's kind of miraculous, where I don't know, somebody makes a fucking touchdown pass. Not kind, something that is like unequivocal. And what would happen if the bullet hit? Who is this? Just some random guy? No, was the presidential candidate, and if he died, we'd probably be in a civil war followed by a world war. Part of me thinks God would be like, what the fuck did you think divine intervention looks like? So I don't know. It could be like a form of Stockholm syndrome where we don't know how to accept that there could be a good power in the universe. I don't know. I'm with you entirely. It's so over the top that you do have to entertain, like, is that a PR move? I don't know. And if they really wanted him dead, if they had committed and said, we can't stop him in the courts, we can't stop him with this, we have to kill him, you would go for something like a shooting first because you'd want some form of plausible, even if no one believed it, it would still be hard to be like, yeah, he was a lone shooter and be like, okay, but was he a CIA asshole? We don't know. He's dead. If you really wanted him dead, you wouldn't do like if not, and you're not worried. If you just wanted raw power, you don't give a fuck about how it looks. You wouldn't do that. You would straight up do you'd hit Mar-a-Lago with a bomb from a fighter jet. You could just straight up do it, and you'd say, "Yeah, we fucking did it. What are you gonna do about it?" You know what I mean?
There was like some mafia lawyers or something years ago that took a mafia down. Anyway, I think one of them, they rigged almost half a kilometer of a road so that when he went down the road, they blew like it was just like a absolutely clinical massive hit.
Yeah.
And so if they can go for, say, a little guy, not saying he's little in that sense, but in the media sense, power in the world, then if Trump's that much of an enemy, then with all the weapons they've got, but I don't know, maybe they don't want to take innocent people down too, and it'll bring too much attention. So you could look at it that way too. Might wake people up.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with innocence. I think they're demons from hell. The only reason they wouldn't do it is if they thought that there was an actual disadvantage to doing it that way. Be like, this is gonna kick off a civil war, and like there are 50 million armed people here. And if your goal is power, you wouldn't do it because it looks bad. You would say, this is probably going to get in the way of our power. If all of US turns into fucking Kabul, where it's just block by block fighting forever, that's the only reason they wouldn't do it that way, right? It's But if he is standing in the way, if a Trump win and then a U.S. sovereignty expansion is standing in the way of a 100-year long, if not longer, march towards a new world order, sure, your first option would be a shooting. But if that didn't work, you would take the gloves off and say, yeah, fuck it. You'd bomb them, and you'd establish martial law, and you'd say the United States as we know it is dead. Like, and you would just fucking go for it. You would just be like, I don't care how many civilians we have to kill. This has been in the works since 1913. And they didn't do that. So I don't know. Maybe there was a stronger pro-Trump faction within the government, and maybe they diffused that and we'll never know about it. Maybe there were
Mm.
calls to just hit his house with a bomb, and the people with him, maybe the counter communist faction within the government said, no, we're not doing it. I don't know.
What was the tone of what was his name? I think I first heard of him from you, Smedley.
Medley
Smedley.
Butler, yeah.
That's it. What was his take on it?
In 1933, his whole thing was he wrote War as a Racket. He was the most, I guess, medaled, if that's the right word, the most medaled, the most awarded um, Marine ever in the United States. He went in as enlisted, went up to the highest level, like four-star general. Um, his whole thing was that he was a tool for the military-industrial complex, that every war they had ever led was never against enemies of the Constitution, but rather enemies of Wall Street, and that the United States should defend our own borders and nothing more. That was 30 years before Eisenhower did the military industrial complex speech. So
What year was
that's
it?
third
Do you remember?
1933.
So before the
That,
Second World War, he said every war up to this point has been fake.
correct.
Gee,
Yeah.
what sort of wars were they?
The
Sorry to
banana.
interrupt your flow.
No, you're good. Well, World War One, and then all the late 1800s, like the I guess the China intervention. I should be more well versed on these, but I'm not. I think the Sino-Russian War, and then the Banana Wars, late 18 or 1890s to early 1900s of us knocking over all those countries in South America for like Dole and for Tampico and for, Royal Dutch Caribbean or whatever the fuck. Yeah. It's not even a book. It's just called Wars or Racket. It's called, I think that everyone says it's a pamphlet. I don't think it's that long, but he's like, this is all dog shit. He's like, we're just the hired muscle. Yeah, no, and that, mind you, that was 30 years before Eisenhower's thing.
It's getting close to 100 years.
Yeah. And he was retired
Fuck.
by 33. Yeah. So that's after his career going back to like the 1880s.
Of all the guests from history you could get on the show, he would
Yeah,
have to be up there.
yeah. Smedley, Eisenhower, JFK. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
wonder if you could get like a hologram one or like an AI
That
one.
would be so cool. That would be so cool. Yeah, but so it seems, and then then what JFK comes out, and we are opposed around the world by monolithic conspiracies. Talking about communism, the idea of like shutting down free speech, free flow. That famous, the very word secrecy in a free and open society is repugnant. Right? They kill him. It seems to be the primary indicator, and then LBJ comes in and we immediately ramp up the war in Nam. It seems to be the primary indicator of somebody being truly a good actor versus they're a pawn for the deep state is whether or not the U.S. engages in more war. Those are really the only ones that are stand out and go, yeah, no, he had his flaws, but he was pro America. He was pro human, and that's why they killed him. That would be the really and it sucks because we're only gonna know in hindsight. We'll only know after Trump's term whether or not he was a pawn. It's a shitty pill to swallow.
Yeah, anything that stopped World War III, I'm pro that.
Sorry, there's somebody drilling on the roof of this building. I don't know if you can hear that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I also don't want to be like so clouded with is this like evil? Is Trump deep state? To like not enjoy it. Like I do just there is something fun about like memes are just hitting a fever pitch right now. Like it's gonna be fun. And it's gonna be over before we know it. 4 years are gonna go by like that. So another part of me is just like I almost kind of maybe admit this is my own flaw. I guess I kind of like willfully want to put my head in the sand and just like watch the movie and laugh. I want to be like a dumb sheep, you know? And that's not good. You should always stay critical and aware. But man, I do love just fucking we're one day and we have a fucking dude, the first thing I did when I saw that last night was I Googled Elon Musk salute and followed by the words Reddit because I just wanted to see the comment section. Oh, and it didn't. We are in fascism, Orange Man 2 point. Like, like, and let's okay. If I was an evil satanic cabal aimed at taking over the world, yeah, this is how I would pacify the right wingers. I'd give them memes. This is what I would do. I would give them bread and circus. So, maybe I shouldn't go full Kool-Aid, but it is fun. I'm gonna pull up Twitter and see what meme is going now. Um, but what about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, Trump's a masterful user of different media. When he kind of ran 2060, he ran America with that Twitter account.
Yeah.
And you don't even know if he was tweeting it by hand or someone was doing it for him, but whoever was behind it was genius. And the way that he's embraced memes, obviously, and also meme coins, and he tried NFTs as well. Even though he's made obviously money from the Trump coin, it's a new form of media. So he's on there in the crypto charts, right? So that top 100, every keyword of every crypto means something. So it moving up towards Bitcoin psychologically makes it seem he's the
Oh,
same level as Bitcoin in a way. So it's very
Ex-
clever media use.
explain the top 100 because I think you said that to me the other day in a voice message about the top 100. I don't think I entirely grasped the importance of it. What is the
Okay.
other than the obvious like, well, it's top 100. What is the I'm gonna fucking shut my door. They're drilling right outside my door. Ed, real quick, tell everyone where to find your Twitter.
A new form of music on Twitter. A new form of music. And coming soon, World Park. Meant to be a new start and a place where people talk 24 hours a day. We encourage free speech, no censorship, and authenticity. And it's in conjunction with the Authenticity Institute, led by the wonderful Wes Kuzmal, who is 79 today. Happy birthday, Wes. Thanks for everything you've done. We're going to release a new platform in the next few months, and everyone is invited. Please come and take part in World Park. This is not Silicon Valley. This is not Silabandia. This is a new start, a new attempt to fix the media and take those puppet strings away. Elon Musk, come and join
I
World
was,
Park.
I was looking around. I don't think it's drilling. There's the fire alarms in this building are also speakers, so they can it's a huge building, and there's like static electricity coming through it. I think somebody's doing work in the lobby, unknowingly broadcasting it to every apartment in this building. So I don't know if you can hear it. If you can't hear it, we're good.
No, it's not coming through. when Elon Musk's voice is coming through those speakers, you'll know that something's.
H-1Bs are a net positive. The thing about shut the fuck up. Um, um, but so explain that. So the importance of top one, aside from like the almost like the sort of chaos magic, meme magic of like having the name out there. Like I get all that. But what is the actual, as somebody who's much more well versed in this than I am, what is the actual port other than the obvious? Yeah, your top 100, that's good. What is the actual value? What you're saying about keywords and ranking?
Yeah, so there's at this point tens of thousands of cryptos. It was many
Yeah.
years ago when it went past just there's one or two, whatever. So, and with one crypto, you can make lots of other cryptos. So it's like gremlins, So the top ones that Bitcoin has, I think, always been number one. Ever since it launched, it was the first, and I think it's always been number one. Ethereum was number two. So you're talking about market cap. How much are they worth? How many Bitcoin are there? How much are they each? One times the other is the market cap. But some cryptos are a bit shady, where, for example, someone might own 80% of the supply, so it might say 700 billion or whatever as the market cap. And it's debatable if that should be the market cap, because if one person owns 80% and it's not really on the market, so there's some question marks, but all the top cryptocurrencies are indexed on coin market cap.
Hmm.
So coin market cap is the site, CMC, and by Trump getting into that top 100, his name is sort of moving up the chart. So all the other cryptos, he's moving up towards Bitcoin. So he's now not just a person and he's not just a name, he's a cryptocurrency. So he's linked to currency, moving up in value to other cryptos. So it's a clever use of new media to get his name in this period.
Why? How come it fucking intercom? I swear to God. Hello, Tommy. How would how would it be different than if he didn't own the market cap? Like how or why would it be any different? Like I get like why it shouldn't. If 80% is his, it's like it doesn't really feel like it's. It'd be like it'd be like if you did an interview with someone and I uploaded it to my Rumble channel and we said Tommy's podcast is the biggest has the biggest library for group shows, and you'd be like, well, 1,668 episodes were Tommy's and one was someone else's. That's not really a group podcast channel. Why would that, to a layman like me, why wouldn't that be considered part of the market cap if Trump owns 80%? This isn't me defending Trump. I don't give a fuck. He's a billionaire. He doesn't need my defense.
Yeah, it depends if there's enough demand in the world to make those 80% that he's got worth the same as what they're currently being advertised as. So, how can I explain it? You've got, say, if I invent crypto called the Edward coin, and I have a million of them, and I give one to you, and I say that's worth $10. Are mine worth 10 million? Not
Uh,
really, because no one will want them. But if enough people think they're all worth $10, it reaches the point where you could sort of lie in a sense and pretend they're worth more than they are, and then give them away for that price, and then you walk off because you created it from zero. It was just a click on a screen.
uh,
So with Bitcoin, you've got a definitive supply and a definitive price, whereas some of the other cryptos have not definitive supplies and a price, and some of the supplies are infinite.
hmm. I was gonna say it is kind of funny in that, like, it's always accuse your enemy of what you're doing. It would be funny if like the Fed came out and they were like, Trump's making supply out of thin air, and just because he started it, he gets to own it. That's our job. It's like there is some like irony in that. Like Trump can't do that. Why? Because only the Federal Reserve can do it. Have they done it to the tune of 80 billion? No, closer to like 80 trillion, but hey, fuck that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think crypto is, unless it's very clever cyber, it is the answer to a lot of the centralization. So by him doing it, even if he walks off with a lot, it could do a lot more for the concept of crypto. that actually, yeah, could say it gets rid of the Federal Reserve. Well, let him have more. Put a zero on it then. It
Hmm.
may be worth it, but
Hmm.
you just don't know how it's going to swing.
Before I forget, how do we tie in? So because I don't think we'd even talked what World Park is. What is that? I know it's your newest thing, but what is World Park?
Yeah, a social media platform, and it's going to be a live talking environment. And the goal is to replace Twitter Spaces and make it the center of the new internet.
How are you going to do that? It's a tall order.
So,
I said that's a tall order. How are you going to do that?
well, creating somewhere that people aren't censored for one, that talk live. And the thing with Twitter is you have to host spaces. And so that requires a person hosting the space. But World Park, as Wes Kuzmal, who I'm working with, he's a real visionary, real leader. He said it fixes the session initiation problem of needing a host. So there's going to be campfires. Anyone can talk about a variety of topics. And so the nine squares there, they're going to be the first nine campfires.
And you don't
So
have to have somebody individually. Okay, so it's like when I play video games with my friends and like I'm the host and we have a party going all night. And then when I go, I got to go to bed. It's like, oh fuck, we need a new host. Like we got to get a server who has the best internet connect. Like my buddy Craig in Wales has the worst internet in mankind. And like whenever we play Helldivers, like Craig, like anyone can host, not Craig, not fucking Craig. And like that is kind of a thing that you need right now, right? It has to be hosted. And I do see the value in that because sometimes people are like, Tommy, you should get on this person. And I'm like, that is like an interesting like, but there's only so many hours in the day, and there's only so many shows a week I can do. Man, if I just had TPC the app, like I would absolutely like that's something I do hope to do one day is like sort of buy up other podcasts, not to control them, but just to like give them a platform because there are so many interesting conversations that are admittedly wildly interesting that I either can't host or it's like when people message me about, this new doctor's report on like the COVID vax. I've done so many hundreds of those episodes that I can no longer be a good host for them because I'm not interested. I I feel like I got the meat of those interviews and I personally just can't
well,
do. You've eaten the same meal 100 days in a row. I'm like, I understand it's important. It's corruption. It was genocide. It was clearly a bioweapon. I've legitimately logged like no less than 300 interviews with doctors about it. But if like let's say Ed, you were like, I just interviewed this doctor, but I don't have like a big podcast to put it on. That's something where I would definitely see the value in like, oh, I'll put it on TPC, you know, the TPC network, right? Where it's not just my show. So I definitely see the value in that of like not having to host it per se, if that makes sense.
yeah, and that's a very smart idea as well.
Yeah, I do want to do it one day. I really
No,
would.
very smart.
I really, well, one, like financially, I would love to find like another up and comer one day and be able to like, because that's what happened to me. Somebody made my dream come true, and they're also going to make a lot of money on it, and my show makes a lot of money. I would like to do it as a business, but I'd also like to do it in terms of not to completely hijack this. We just started talking about your thing, and now I'm talking about how I'm going to make my thing. That's a, sorry, but that is a thought that I've had for a long time. Is I would like to have like my own network because I don't think any one network has ever you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
One day, Rumble will be as bad as YouTube. It might not be for 20 years, but it will be. They all will be. It's the natural course of these things to consolidate, to corrupt, and then to implode on themselves. So it's just being a real. One day, I will no longer be the host that I am, and I don't like to think about that. But one day, and it might be 40 years from now. But in the same way, Howard Stern is like a shell of who he is. Humility would dictate that I too will fall to either I'll just become washed up or I'll become some corrupt bootlicker. I don't want to be. When I do get to that stage, that's when I hope people stop watching me. I don't think I'll be that, but I don't think anyone ever does. So I think it's a level of humility to, it's like yeah, one day I will grow old and die. Right now, I can do push ups, I can run, I can fucking do like, sure, sure. One day, 10 years now, 20 years now, one day I will need a walker. I will be slow. My mind will be slower and I will die. It's just humility to say that, yeah, that will happen. Um, but it's one thing I think about with like Rumble and Twitter. They will one day become as bad as YouTube, and that's fine. New things will pop up in its place. Is that is that kind of what you hope for World Park?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that one of the key things that we have to fix in the future in technology platforms is you've got to allow the creator, the influencer, to be able to take their, let's say, followers, fans with them. So even say if you're on Twitter and you've got followers and then they delete it, you've not that easy to know who was following you. The network's cut. So I kind of visualize forward if someone's hosting a campfire on Music Village, say you've got like 10,000 followers, I need to create a way where you can save your followers basically. That's really key. So that even if then Music Village or World Park closed in the future, those network connections can be saved and you can walk off with them. I think that's really key. So I need to figure a way to do that. But yeah, that's a very key question, I think. You should have control of your network.
No, you definitely should, and that is a one, and I think that's also probably what drives a lot of barriers to entry for people going on to other, well, why would I? I've got 1 million people on Twitter. Why would I go to Getter, Gab, Telegram? And it's like, yeah, the conversion isn't like, why would you go if you can't take your, because a lot of people, like, the best thing about them is they have a huge platform. Like, they're not wildly interesting people, or they used to be, and now they're riding on that momentum from 20 years ago. If you can't bring it with you, it doesn't really equate, right?
Mm.
Um, I don't know how you would do that though. I have
I
no
think
idea how you
maybe
do that.
if every user has a unique public ID
Hmm.
in Music Village, then you could just save them as a text file, if you see what I mean. Bitcoin uses this to public IDs, but World Park Authenticity Institute, Wes Kuzma, they have a system where every person will have a public ID. It's like a long number. So long number, username or nickname, let's say. If you've got 10,000, saving them should in theory just be save it as a text file, download it. It shouldn't be that hard. It's just a list of 10,000 codes.
It could also be like if you get on like an app or something, like let's say like Snapchat, right? When I allow like or Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever, when I get on them like for the first time and then I allow it to access my contacts, it will bring them up on that app. It'll be like Edward's using WhatsApp, right? And okay, yeah, fine, yeah, sure. And if I don't want that, I don't allow contacts. But everyone I know that has the app, it will show it. There's also an option though. Not every app, but I know with like Snapchat, I think with Signal, they will also show your contacts who don't have the app but are still in your contacts and say like, would you like to invite them? And in a weird way, it's kind of bringing over like your phone book to the app even to people that don't have the now. And I don't know, let's say I said like, yes, I do want to invite Edward. I don't, maybe it just texts you, and I don't know how that's allowed. I feel like that's a privacy thing, but they do it nonetheless. They don't absolutely give a fuck. um they don't. It's I download apps every day to upload the podcast to, and then I delete them because if I keep them on my phone I scroll, and then if I start scrolling I start getting depressed. So I like download them every day and upload. And man, you don't realize, download just Snapchat. Just something normal like Snapchat. It'll be the obvious. We'd like to access your camera, right? So you can send pictures of your dick and your microphone, right? And then it'll be like, and then we want to access your contacts, and then your location, and then your notifications, then your local internet network, then your Bluetooth. Then we'd like to cross post to Facebook and Twitter, and then even one of them was like, we'd like to know your local weather. And you don't really think about it, but as somebody that downloads them every day, I always see Dude, the access they try to get from you is so fucking up your, which I guess the bright side would tell me that it's not too impossible to do what you want to do. It feels like that might already be the norm, whether or not it's spoken, is to just bring all your context. So I don't know. But yeah, how do you transfer? Or even if you could do something like, I don't know, like I can pull up like Dr. Malone on Getter. Let's see how many people he has on Getter. I know he's got a decent number. So Getter, Dr. Malone. So on Getter, he's got 440,000 people. All right, that ain't nothing.
Wow, it's a lot.
That ain't nothing. Oh, he follows me. Hell yeah. Dr. Malone follows me. I get take it. We'll take it. Um, he used to all the doctors used to follow me on Twitter, but I've been banned so many times. I don't even feel good asking them anymore because I'm like, yeah, I might get banned again.
I've got to say, your Twitter posting recently is ramped up to another level.
I'm really just trying to start some shit. I'll be completely on. And I've had people ask me, like, dude, are you like pro Hitler? I'm like, no, what the fuck? Why? And they're like, you've been retweeting, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. It's because Reddit, or not Reddit, Twitter doesn't let you say faggot. They let you say retard. They don't let you say faggot. They don't let you say trans people are pedophiles. They don't let you say kill yourself. And so I'm just trying to poke the bear in the ways that I can. It's admittedly a character flaw. I should swallow my pride and just behave, but I can't, so I won't. Um,
I find it entertaining, so I
Thank
don't
you.
want to
Yeah,
discourage.
and for anyone that is listening, hey, I always tell people, no matter what I say on Twitter and no matter what I say on the game stream, those aren't real. Those are like characters. Where sometimes I'm real, but a lot of times I'm just
Yeah.
starting shit. Podcast is who I am. But so okay, so on Getter, he's got 400,000 people, and he's been on since 2021. On Twitter, he's got 1.2 million. So, I mean, I wonder if you could do something where, like, unofficially you don't have it, but let's say, like, you ran Getter, you would say, 400,000 followers on Getter, and I don't know, you could maybe put in, like, gray or, like, in parentheses, like, 1.2 million on Twitter. Sort of be like, he is a big person somewhere else. But he's migrating to this app. I don't know if you'd be able to do that, or I have no idea, or if you could even put like an auto link at the end of every tweet that would be like, also follow me on Getter or something. I don't
That's
know.
smart.
And I don't know if that applies to like what you're doing or what you're talking about, but I do think that central kernel of an idea is important, and it's being able to take your followers with you. Because if you can't, what take it from somebody who's built their podcast up from nothing. It's not, don't do it if you don't have to. It's so much better to just build up your thing and then keep it. There's no like, I guess there is honor, but it's not necessary. Like sure, yeah, I built the podcast, nobody gave it to me. I get it. If you can just start with a lot more followers, do it. It's a much easier life. But I don't know if that's it might be that that's the very it might be that no companies allow that because that would be their own death. We're not letting you take your Why would I let you take all of your McDonald's coupons and turn them into Burger King coupons? So what, you can leave here? Absolutely the fuck not. No, 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 no. You have to stay here, right? Why would you allow it? From a corporate standpoint, you wouldn't. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's kind of no meeting place at the moment. There's no default. Twitter's a default, but it can be closed. Commenting on videos, maybe going on podcasts, but a host is not hosting, the space isn't running. So there's not a default. So I really want to create a default. So if something happens, well, how do I talk about it? Boom, World Park. So I'm really hopeful this can be a new start. But it could be a bumpy road on the way to the launch.
It will be. Yeah, no, it will be. Just accept that it will be. There's no easy path. There's a zero. If you manage to find an easy path, maybe I'm just retarded. But I know from this pot, like there is no. Just accept anything it's the quote, anything that's worth having doesn't come easy, working out, dieting, whatever. But I've also found that like within like the media space, no no platform, no channel, no soapbox worth having comes easy. Because if anyone could have it, everyone would have it. You have to throw some elbows, step on some hands, cut some throats to build up your thing. It really is. Like, when people are like, how do you have this many subscribers on Rumble? I'm like, work yourself to death every day for years, and you'll slow. No one else is going to give it to you. And why would they? Why would they give it to you? So anything worth having or worth competing is absolutely not going to come easy. It's going to be a brutal path. So I don't know. Not to dissuade you, but it's not if it will be bumpy. It will be bumpy. Absolutely be bumpy.
I appreciate the encouragement.
Absolutely.
It's yeah, it's been a crazy year really. It's just been every week something different, and I've given up writing notes for recently just because there's so much going on. There's not even time to like summarize it. And like the last 48 hours, and now we're here, and how do you even digest what's going on the screen and what might happen tomorrow? There's never been a time like it.
The only thing remotely comparable is like 2020. And so,
Yeah, yeah, it feels like that. It's 2020-esque.
yeah. 'Cause don't forget, like COVID didn't really sort of become a thing till what, February, March? But 2020 still started with
Yeah,
I think
the
Notre
slow
Dame
burn.
was Notre Dame 2020 or 2019, Notre Dame burning. It was the same fears of World War III, because remember Trump fucking bombed Soleimani, that Iranian general.
Right.
Kobe Bryant died, and then COVID started. So like, you're like this year's not gonna be as crazy as 2020. Be like 2020 didn't really get crazy till like March. We're here, like what, we're 21 days in.
3 weeks.
Trump's the president, the richest man in the world, threw up a sig heil. Most of LA is gone. Just that
Not
little
really.
that little that little side effect. It is fucking nuts, dude. You all right?
Yeah, I just a bit of cramp.
Oh shit.
You
Yeah.
laughed me into it.
Yeah. It is. It's starting off at a fever pitch. Like like when they retired the SR-71 Blackbird spy plane, they wanted to set an all they wanted its last flight to set an all-time speed record from LA to New York. And so what they did was, in the plane could go Mach 3. So what they did was, instead of taking off from LA and flying to New York, they took off from LA, flew out over the ocean, turned around, and then hit the full throttle. And then they started the count when it went over LAX. So it was already going Mach 3 when it went over. And went, and that's how, they set the record, supposedly. Right. But they didn't take off and slowly. That's what 2024 or 5 kind of feels like.
Yeah,
We came as what 3 hours in, terrorist attack in New Orleans, that guy driving. Later that day, a Cybertruck explodes in front of Trump Tower. Then all of
yeah,
LA
yeah.
burns down.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That was this month. It's not even like, oh, that was this year. That was this month.
LA burnt to the ground.
Yeah,
I
LA
haven't
is
even
like
missed.
LA is like kind of gone. Don't forget about that. It's just, you know, the biggest city in the other than New York is just kind of like not there anymore. I don't know, man.
What's March going to be like? Forget about November.
Fucking hell, dude. Maybe it's good though. Maybe that means because we're starting so hot it will slow down. But I don't think I don't think so. That's like that's the pussy in me. That's like maybe it will slow down if we're nice to it. Like, nah, I think it's coming in hot. And they're not gonna go down. They're not just gonna allow Trump's second term to happen. You know? They're gonna cook up some mischief. So I don't know. Maybe this, as crazy as this month is, this might be the calm. So maybe we should just enjoy it, get some sleep while we can. I don't know. You know, I don't know.
I tell you what's coming in hot this year is your podcast. I think it's getting better and better.
Thank
It's
you.
brilliant.
I hope it does, man. I hope it. I really want it to work, not just for obvious like financial reasons, but I just wanted to get like I don't know some acknowledgement somewhere because
Well,
like
you
I
had
know
one
it's
the other
good.
day.
What?
You had one the other day from a
Of
certain.
fucking Vivian Kubrick, dude. I fucking screenshotted that and sent that to so many people. I was like, Stanley
Awesome.
Q. That is one of the coolest things actually. Because I saw you tweet at her, Vivian Kubrick, and like I knew who she was. Like I tangent like somewhere. I'm like, yeah, that's Stanley Kubrick's daughter. And I saw you tweet at her. I'm like that would be in the same way though. Like I throw like invites to everyone. Like I've invited Elon Musk on the show. Like I don't get a response. I invited Obama. Like I don't get a response. And like I saw you tag her. I'm like, oh, that was nice. But in my mind, I'm just like, these are all just kind of like Hail Marys. The
Yeah.
fact that she replied and said she's watched my show since before COVID.
Yeah.
That's like the coolest fucking thing ever. That is that was yeah, that's crazy. The guy that did Eyes Wide Shut, his daughter watches. Like that's so cool to me.
And before COVID is just the cherry on the cake.
Yeah, because
That's
that's when most people found my show was during COVID. It was through like Malone McCullough
sure.
episodes. How did
That's
she
how I
find
found.
me before COVID? Like, what in God's name
That's
was she
what's
even watching?
beautiful. Yeah. Of all the people, do you know how many followers you had then? How many?
I can pull it up with my OCD
Interesting to know,
record
but
keeping. Yeah, I have my OCD record keeping. Let's see. Nope, that's hold on. Maybe I don't have it. Uh, I don't think I'd. Hmm. Maybe I don't. Maybe I delete. But I can say so before COVID. I don't know. We'll say March 2020. I mean, under 300 subscribers probably. I think.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. March. Yeah.
So I think this is an. I've thought this for a while, but this could be another indication that followers are not as important as it seems, because it doesn't account for who has seen
Who the
what you've
followers
made.
are.
Yeah. Or even not who the followers are, who saw it but isn't a follower.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I would say that. I would definitely say that's true. And it's like it's not satisfying because like you want the numbers. There's just like a legitimacy to it, whether we like it or not, whether the
Oh, for
numbers are
sure.
real or not, whether or not they're all bots. For better or worse, there is legitimacy to it. It just is. Um, but yeah, I mean, but yeah, I guess I mean you're right though. When I have on like Dr. Malone and he's like, that's I think you're one of the best interviewers out there. That does mean so much more than just like a random 1,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's a guy who's been on Joe Rogan and he tells me he's like you're more engaging. Like that's so fucking cool. And I think that yeah, I mean I think that that does matter who watches it, but there's no way to like gauge that, you know. You
That's
get
the
these
beauty
first
of it,
yeah.
isn't it? That's the little beauty is you don't know. Like if Kubrick's daughter was watching your stuff in 2019, who's seen it since? Especially as you become better and better and you've interviewed a more diverse group of people. You may have reached every corner of the world, but it's just not represented on a screen. There's a real
Yeah.
beauty to that.
That's that's kind of a beautiful way that you're looking at because my I was saying how much I like don't like that and you're saying no, there's like a beauty in that because it almost allows your imagination to go a little more wild,
Yeah.
right? Instead of saying like, no, I know for a fact that only this number of people watch it. You don't know. Like you don't know whose screen it's come across, right? I guess that is kind of a more beautiful way to look at it. It kind of, I don't know. It also allows you to kind of keep going because you're like, maybe there's so many more people watching this than I know of, right?
Oh yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess the number of like personal anecdotes I've got from people on the show do mean, I guess, so much more than just random people watching. But like nonetheless, there is that I don't know if it's bad, but there is that pride in like wanting it to be bigger. Because I feel like if it's not, I feel like it's a submission to bigger channels, even if they don't do podcasts. But when I see someone with like 500,000 followers on Rumble and they're talking about like, what do you do when you go to the club? Like, like, oh, I always get, I like a big fat girl to twerk on me. And they're all like, oh shit. And I'm like, this is like the dumbest fucking cattle feed media. I like it when she twerks on my dick because I like pussy. Yeah, brother. I'm like, like, why am I doing this show? But yeah, no, it does. And for whether it's right or wrong or whether it's, mature or not, I do have that. Yeah, there is that sort of like ego when I see other channels with much bigger followers. I'm like, what the fuck? They have more to me. And again, this could be my own just psychological flaws, but I feel like they're validated more. And why should I want anyone's validation? I don't fucking know because I'm a human. But I do feel that, it's all well and good when a smart or successful person tells me they love my show, but there is that just sort of base validation that I don't get from not getting as many views or followers as other channels, right? It just gets frustrating, you know. But woe is me, I suppose.
It's hard to know how many of those kind of cute dog creators or nightclub creators in the future, someone of note in the industry will say, "Ah, I was watching those videos, that person's cool." They won't remember them because they're just one of many. They're just
Yeah.
giving popcorn out. Whereas you're creating like fine filet mignon with the perfect sea salt and there's nothing like it. So it's a real connection.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, it's like I don't regret any shows I do. I'm like I'm like very proud of them that I'm like I like that I'm going into this topic or this detail about this. Um and then yeah, you go on Rumble and it's on the front page and it's just a bunch of fucking whores and like latex just be like, man, on your first date, like, do you swallow? Like, oh, girl, no, I done 80 zillion views. And it's like, do you want to compete with that? Like, do you want to be accepted by those people? Not really. No, I don't think so. You know, I don't think so. I like it when she has sex with me. Like, wow, what a novel take you have. You also like ice cream? Like, shut the fuck up. You fucking brain dead fucking pack mule. I don't know, That's just, if you can't tell, there's some real resentment that I haven't grown my show more. We'll just pull up the front page of Rumble. I should
Be
get so
back in a sec. I'm just going to fill my water.
Yeah, you're good. Like, I guess it makes sense that everything was about Trump right now. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. It's like every evening. Yeah, and I don't know anything about these people, so just I'm very clear about. Like I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I like to think that if I met some of these people that did these shows, they'd probably tell me off there, be like, "Yeah, no, this is retarded." But look, I paid off my house. Like I like to think that. I'd be like, "Oh, okay." But I mean, but like every night, I can't find it. But every night when I like set up the game stream, I go to the front page of Rumble. Late at night, it's always fresh and fit. I've never once clicked on it, but it's just they just have on a bunch of whores in bikinis talking about what they do at the club. And it's not a one-off where it's like, yeah, well, technically an encyclopedia entry has one of everything. So of course there would be the whore insert up there with Mount Rushmore. It's every night. It's hundreds of episodes of just girls with silicone asses and bolt-on tits talking about how they twerk on that. And like, I'm not kidding, within under an hour, these things will break like 300,000 views. And it, Ed, you as my witness, it just sometimes really makes me want to blow my fucking brains out. And I'm just like, oh God, oh motherfucker. It's 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 bad. It's envy, it's jealousy. These are all bad traits. I don't know. I don't know.
It's the drive that keeps us going forward. Everyone's on a different level, I guess, of that, and there's you're competing with Elon Musk at the top, who controls the platform and all the millions of followers he's got,
Yeah.
and how much of that is real. Like, if he was left to his own devices and wasn't supported all the time, would he have an engaging channel with no help and algorithmic promotion?
I don't
Probably
think
not. I can't imagine it'd be that interesting to listen to in a conversation for too long. In sound bites, maybe, but
yeah. Sound bites. He's still the rocket guy. He'd be but in the same way you would tune in to listen to Jeff Bezos. But yeah, he's probably got some sound wisdom somewhere in there. But I don't think it would be like superstar status.
I wouldn't watch 1,000 episodes of him talking to a diverse group of people.
No.
No chance.
As I was telling Ed, I fucked my neck last night sleeping.
Yeah, you okay?
Yeah, no, it's just, it's gonna get worse if I push it hard in the gym, which is why I'm not. I just took an naproxen. Um, I gotta wrap this up in like 10 minutes or so. But
Okay.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, I mean, you do wonder. I do wonder just sometimes what it would be like to get like an algorithmic boost. And I'm owed nothing, so I'm gonna just be very clear. But like, I'm owed no help from anyone. So I'm not saying this is something I expect so much as just a thought exercise. What would it be like to win the lottery? I I shouldn't let it, but I do hate so much that you can sign out of your YouTube account. Just sign in incognito to you're just a human on Earth. No locations, nothing. Within, and I've done this, under an hour, you'll start getting auto recommended Lex Friedman. I would be so grateful simply to be on YouTube, not banned. They have a much bigger audience than Rumble has. So for me to get X number of subscribers on Rumble is a significant portion of their total users. Whereas on YouTube, I could get 1/100th percentage that I have on Rumble, and it would probably still be 10 times bigger. So there's a massive sea of people that I don't even get to pitch my product to. I would be so grateful to simply have my show there and have it searchable, discoverable. I cannot imagine being on a platform of any size that auto recommended me to any number of people. I would fucking cut off my left testicle to have that. And I'm not even trying to be like funny or I wouldn't cut off my nuts, but like to have an assist like that, I can't even imagine like what it's got to do for just your own like motivation. Like it's growing, it's working. I think that's why I like lifting weights so much because the harder I push, the more results I see. And it's very, not very, it's entirely uh, based on merit. I just can't imagine what it would be like to get things auto recommended. Not even on YouTube, but like Rumble, to just be on the front page. And because it's not the case, I have to accept that it's not the case and then just keep working regardless. because it doesn't matter whether or not I view it positively or negatively. It just is. Doesn't matter what my thoughts are and me being 5'8". I just am. Like it or not, it's, you might as well like it. But I like to think of it as by not being auto-suggested or boosted by the algorithm, that it's forcing me to become a better interviewer because it means that I truly only get views and recommendations based on word of mouth of people going, that was a great show. And they put it on their Facebook or text it to their brother or whatever. If that's the case, I've been in the crucible for 5 years, perfecting my art to a level that I never would because I wouldn't have to, you know? So I like to think of it that way. It keeps me from going insane and just seeing retarded whores on the front page of Rumble. He go crazy when I rub his dick. Wow, I mean, fucking, this is Da Vinci level genius right here. The man likes sex. So I don't know, but that's kind of my
Breaking.
like. I have people even will say it on Twitter, be like, man, I've never once watched Lex Friedman in my life. Why do I get recommended his show every day? And I'm just like, I can't imagine what even one day of that would do to my show. Even one day of just getting auto recommended. I think I'd probably double the size of my show in a day.
Yeah, I mean that could still happen. It could at some point it could just be one video suddenly
Yeah.
jumps up and that's how it works. Maybe you've got more followers that they're basically hiding in a sense because censorship could be at the follower level. Like maybe it's 10% higher or 50% higher and they're
Yeah.
throttling everyone on a certain level that you just don't know. So, I think the best feedback is when real people give you feedback because you know that someone has definitely
Yeah.
heard it and connected. So, yeah, there's lots of layers of obfuscation here.
Yeah. Um, and I also we don't know what level, but I also don't think it's a stretch of the imagination at all to assume that there's some like high level government activity. And by that I don't mean that they're like Tommy Carrigan. I don't mean that. I'm not that narcissistic. But I mean, like, if we know the Twitter files, or if we know that they had all these backdoor Zuckerberg saying it on Rogan, like, this is not a conspiracy anymore. This is all shit that we all hypothesize. Like, I said it on this show in 2021. I was like, I guarantee you one day we're going to find out all these CEOs got either some form of stock option kickback or government stipend or something for censoring on behalf of the Department of Homeland Security. If we know that happened with Twitter, and with Facebook, and with all this shit, is it that much of a crazy thing to assume that they also granted them access to the algorithmic gears, if you will? So if you don't outright ban people, wouldn't you want to use some sort of, I don't know, psychological warfare and demoralize people? Conservative shows just don't grow no matter what. Wouldn't you? Isn't I don't feel like that. And again, I have to be clear. It's not that I think I'm so important that the director of the NSA is like remove the number of likes from his video. I get that. I'm a psychopath, but I'm not delusional. I don't think it's too insane to assume or presume, whatever the fuck the word is, that there are probably some form of handcuffs or some degree of chains
Digital handcuffs.
that are holding everyone down. And if they're holding everyone down, then they're not holding anyone down. Sure, okay, yeah. But I think, and it's not even gonna be they might be doing it on Rumble, and Rumble doesn't even know. If it's state powered, you would be able to do it without Rumble even knowing. You wouldn't even need somebody inside.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
Now that also might sound like very convenient thinking, like, oh, my show's not big enough because the government's holding me down. Like, no, that's also how you become lazy and never self-improve. So
Yeah,
regardless if they are, and if regardless of whether or not I'm whatever, makes no difference. I have to work harder. I accept that. But I do sometimes think like 10 years from now, all of a sudden there's just some class action lawsuit and I get named in it. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, you well, there's been over like $50 million in damages to your company's growth. What? Be like, yeah, from like 2020 onward, you were like red flagged labeled as a terrorist. Like that might actually be happening like as we speak. I don't know, you know. People are on no fly lists that didn't even know they were on. Uh,
sure, sure. I think there's more chance something like that is the case.
I would say,
I
well, yeah, yeah, and I wouldn't be unique. It would be like anyone that does any form of content creation anywhere. You would be on it.
but that yeah, but they'd focus on people who are better at it.
Absolutely.
So
And again, I'm very aware that that's like a very convenient, like, oh, I don't suck. The government's holding me down. That's a very bad way of going about life. But just as an idea, I don't think it's that crazy to think that there's something like that somewhere.
not in this era.
Not at
Not with the
all.
first 3 weeks of 2025.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that episode I did last October or so with Baz and Pete Chambers about intelligence that Iranian surface to air shoulder fired missiles had been smuggled across the southern border and they were going to use them for against Trump. That show that I'd been banned on Twitter at the time. That show across two or three different Twitter accounts was Lara Logan and then two other big names combined. It got 8 million views, which is my most viewed episode of all time is the Mass Formation Psychosis, and that's at 1.5.
Wow.
So it got over four times, almost five times as much. And in one day, it got 250,000 views on Rumble. And then the next
Wow.
day, all views stopped. And it hasn't gotten more
So
views since then.
there you go. Someone
There
hit a
you go.
switch or something was
And
pressed. It should go higher.
the shows that get 1,100, like this one will probably break around 1,000. That's about what most of them do the first day. They still trickle upwards for like the next week. This one will probably climb to like 15 to 1,800 over the next week. And then it comes to a more natural, it might go up 10 views a day for like a month and then it will kind of plateau. The one that got 250,000 in a day just hit a wall. No one's
Just
interested anymore. The end. Got 8 million on Twitter in 24 hours. 8 fucking million. Nobody's interested though. No more on Rumble. No more views. Everybody got bored. The end. I mean, what is that? What the fuck is that? So
yeah,
who's putting their thumb on it? Uh, Rumble makes money when I make money. So I don't think it's Rumble. So who the fuck is that? There is no other explanation. There's some state power somewhere. And again, I don't. I'm not so egotistical to say they've got my name up in a boardroom. No, but I've absolutely fallen into some sort of grading system in some sort of Orwellian machine,
yeah,
and I'm in the top whatever 1% of maximum 10.0 on the 1 to 10 scale. Maybe Rogan's on 10, and I'm at 5, but I'm in the top 1% of free speech and dangerous. Like I don't know. So I mean, that really makes you think, how the fuck does that happen? How does it just, that is anomalous. As somebody that has done almost 1,700 episodes, I've kind of gotten good at roughly knowing how shows perform. What, what is that? How the fuck does that happen? How does it get 8 million on Twitter in 24 hours and then come to a halt? There's no, what is the explanation? There is none. There's someone somewhere hit a switch. So if it's happening to that, it's then not crazy to assume maybe it happens to everything I do. That one was just so big I noticed it. Maybe it's not the norm that every show I do gets 1,100 views in a day. Maybe they should be getting 11,000.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it's someone watching it anonymously, does it register as a play or a
Mhm.
view? You're just trusting them.
No, it does.
But what I'm saying is, how would you know?
Oh, I
Let's say that
would.
some
If you can, because there are multiple ways to do it. You could censor it to where people don't see the show, but then you could also censor it to say they saw the show, but we're not going to let you know they saw the show. So I go,
exactly
only
that's
100
yeah,
people watched it. Maybe 1 million people did.
yeah,
But
exactly,
but as a
yeah,
demoralization tactic, that's what
yeah,
if I was in the fucking government and I wanted to demoralize people and they brought me in as their content creator expert witness, I'd be like, oh fuck with the numbers. You don't even have to censor it. Tell them they're not getting anything. It'll break them. Like, right? So I don't know. But whether or not it's happening, it doesn't matter. It does matter, but it doesn't change my responsibility. So I just have to work harder. If I want it, then I just have to work harder. Maybe there's $1 trillion corporate state program that I'm being sucked up into. Perhaps, but you know, I have to fight it, and so I'll fight it. Whatever. I don't know. I don't really know what the what what we should even title. I think it was just winging it. Um, but Ed, if you don't mind, we got to wrap it up. I gotta get groceries. I'm finally taking down my Christmas lights because we got a big snow, and so I'm taking everything down. But dude, as always, it's great catching up with you. I love chatting with you, dude.
happy inauguration day.
Fucking you. I'm- I was like, it couldn't have been that. This has to just be a bad image. And I watched the video. I'm like, because maybe they just caught him. And I'm like, yeah,
I
hey,
think he did it.
hey, it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. But Ed, gotta wrap this shit up. I gotta go get
Cheers,
groceries.
Tommy.
Much love, brother. Thank you so much. And till next time, man. Take care.
Easy. Check
All right,
out World
brother.
Park.
Check out World Park, guys. And I think I have your links in there, but just in case, text me the links and I'll put them in the description again. All right. All right, brother. Thank you
Okay,
so
good luck with
much.
the shoulder.
Thank you so much. Hopefully it doesn't break. Guys, everybody, thank you for watching. Ed, till next time, brother. Thank you so much.